Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am officially done with the second book of the Green Creek series novels. And don't mind the bandages, I'm fine. I just did some blood work. But this book, I will say, even though it's romance and even though it's the type of romance I don't typically really enjoy, I can look past that and actually enjoy the plot of the story. Because TJ, you did a really good job of the plot of the whole story, and I truly, truly admire it. This book, I will tell you right now, it is a 10 out of 10. I was laughing, I was crying, I was angry, I was very on edge with this book. And TJ, I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm just going to call you TJ. This book, like the second book, has truly, truly made me enjoy fantasy series in this type of work. I may not read more of your other books, but if I do, I'll let you know. But I really, really am enjoying the Green Creek series novels. I really loved it. I loved the first book. The first book was a 10 out of 10. I was crying. This second book, I would say I was more angry than I was crying. Because your two main characters, you have Gordo and Mark. Gordo, who's the witch of the Green Creek Alpha clan. He has a tragic backstory. Maybe not tragic is the right word, but to me it's tragic. He grew up with a dad and a mom. The dad ended up cheating on his mom with another woman. And it spiraled this whole conflict between Gordo and his dad and his mom and his alphas. Like, it just created a whole different vibe than what it was in the first book. In the first book, I was very, what's the word I'm looking for? In the first book, there was so much lore. And the conflict between Ox and Joe and Joe's family, like that truly put me on edge, because I'm like, whoa, what is happening right now? I don't understand. But then when it came to the second book, there definitely was more lore, but it was more of like the point of view of Gordo, the witch, to where he even had anger and turmoil inside of him, because growing up, his dad basically told him that they own you. You are now a part of the clan. You're now part of the pack. You are now part of everything that the wolves want you to do. His mom, on the other hand, wanted him nothing to do with that. She basically told him that they don't love you. They don't care about you. They are just using you. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. So growing up, he was more on like his dad's side, but after his mom created a conflict between her and her husband's affair, it created more turmoil, because just like in the first book, Gordo gets left behind while the rest of his pack members decide to move forward out of Green Creek and go find some sort of outlet other than staying in Green Creek. And Mark, who is now the second of the alpha, meaning his right-hand man, he basically told Gordo, like, hey, I'll come back for you. I'll come back for you. I promise, I promise, I promise. To where nobody called, nobody texted, nobody let him know that they were okay and that they were living and that they were coming back. He was basically left on the sidelines by himself, struggling with normal life, when all he wanted to do was go with his alpha, go with his pack. But something happened and he couldn't go because he's human and he's a witch. So basically he ends up going down this path of like, all right, I'm by myself. I've always been by myself. Nobody cares. I'm just going to be by myself. Until one day, Mark comes back into Green Creek. He sees Gordo graduate from not college, but high school, but then he's off again. And then Gordo's like, hey, It's just another day in paradise, just another day, just another bill, just another dollar. Like, I don't really care no more. I'm not looking for my pack no more. They left me behind, so now I'm just gonna sever that bond between me and the pack. To where to where Gordo ends up having a one night stand with somebody, and Mark comes knocking on his door, and he's mad. He's fuming. He's mad. And he basically starts telling Gordo, like, hey, who's the guy? Like, I told you to wait. I told you I'll be coming back. And Gordo basically gives him an ultimatum. He basically tells him, it's either me or the pack. You choose right here, right now. It's either me or them. And Mark, he's very angry, not just at Gordo, but he's mad at his brother because his brother's the alpha and he's the one that told everybody to move. So he's very, very mad because he wanted Gordo to come with us, but the alpha said no. So he basically tells Gordo, I can't do that. I can't do what you're asking me to do. I'm sorry. To where Gordo got a wooden raven that Mark made for him. And he put his blood, sweat, and tears into making the raven, like a statue of a raven, giving it to Gordo. Gordo basically grabs it and shoves it in his face and is like, I don't want it. And Mark is like, I don't want it. I gave it to you. I promise you I'll come back. And he goes, no, your promise means nothing. Like, your promise is just crap. You know? Like, it's just crap. I don't believe anything you say. To where Mark basically tells Gordo, like, I don't want it, you keep it, and he leaves. Gordo, he keeps the raven, but he basically kept it hidden to where he completely forgets about it and doesn't want anything to do with it. So he shoves it somewhere and then he completely forgets about it. A couple years later down the line, he ends up meeting Joe, the one from the first book, and he basically is taking care of Joe. His dad's a piece of crap, like his dad's a piece of work. And he basically tells Joe, like, hey, you know, you're my friend. I'll take care of you. Do you want a root beer? You want a root beer? All right, here, cool. Take a root beer. And Gordo basically realizes sorry, not Joe, but Ox. He basically realized that Ox is now part of him. He's now his tether, meaning in this book, this is another thing I love about TJ, is that in this book, the lore between wolves and the bond that they have is a lot more in depth than you would find in Twilight. In Twilight, it's more of like, yeah, I imprinted on you, now you're a part of me. And now I'm going to do whatever you say, and you're going to do whatever I say. I'm going to use you however you need to use me. I'm going to use you however I need to use you. And with this book, it's kind of like that, but it's not. In a sense that in this book, Gordo basically treats Ox like a person instead of an item. He basically tells Ox, like, hey, you know, you're free to do wherever you want. You're free to go wherever you want to go. Just know that you always have a place with me. You always have a place in my heart. You'll always be part of my family. To where Ox basically goes, okay, cool. Sure, Gordo. Like, that's cool. And then fast forward, the Bennetts come back, and then Joe basically tells Gordo, like, hey, did you know about the Bennetts? Because the Bennetts are here. Gordo, in his point of view, when the Bennetts come back from the first book, he basically looks at Ox and he goes, do me a favor, stay away from them. Like, just don't do anything with them. They're not good people. They're bad people. We don't like them. We don't like them. Ox, okay. If you say we don't like them, we don't like them. I'll listen to you. To where Ox meets little Joe and they fall in love, and then that's a whole different story. If you want to know more about Joe and Ox, you got to read the first book. Going back to Gordo and Mark, there's a lot of tension between them. And this is another thing what I love about this book and this series, but mostly the book in particular, is that there is tension, and it's like, and you can view it as, like, you know, in all different types of relationships and all different types of couples, but each couples will have some sort of tension between them, whether that tension is socials or like rent or stuff like that, like stuff stuff that is more realistic. With him and Gordo, their basic problem is long distance, and it didn't work out the best way, nor did it work out at all. They didn't even try. It was just more of like, yeah, we're long distance, but you left, I moved on, I don't really care, you don't care. To where something ends up happening to the wolves in the Bennett pack, that they start, some of the wolves end up having a disease, some sort of infection, to where they lost their tethers. Now, what's interesting about that is that, like I said, Mark and Gordo, they're basically mated, but they're not mated. They're potential mates, but they haven't mated. They haven't made any like agreement to anything. And then you have Carter, which is Mark's nephew, and Carter doesn't have a tether. His tether is more of like the pack and everything, but he doesn't have a specific thing to hold him down until he realizes that Kelly, his brother, his younger brother, is his tether. It's not the pack itself, it's his brother. But what ended up happening is that there's like somehow the bond between the two brothers was severed. The bond between Mark and Gordo, it's already severed, but it just made it 10 times worse, to where instead of being normal wolves, instead of being betas, they end up being omegas, which is the lowest of the lows in a wolf pack. And basically they have to find a way to get the wolves back to being betas. But once they figured out what the problem was and they solved it, it was already official that all of the wolves that have been infected are now omegas. They're still part of the pack, and they're still considered betas to the official wolf pack, but to everybody else, they're just seen as omegas. And like I said, this book put me on edge. There's a lot of twists and turns. Like some characters that you thought were dead from the first book, but they're still alive, and there's like treacherous alphas, and there's treacherous villains, and it's just like it just put me on edge, to where I'm like, what is gonna happen? What is gonna happen next? I want to know more. I really, really want to know more. And the funny moments in the book is mostly the side characters. Gordo, as that is portrayed in the book, all the characters see him as like this big, gruff country man who's just a redneck, and he's just mean, and he's just ugh. And then you have Mark, who is sensible, sweet, can sometimes be a jerk, but mostly a jerk towards the person that he intentionally wants to hurt, but then it just becomes a whole different vibe. But if you really, really want to start getting into TJ's books, I would recommend reading Green Creek novel if you love animals, if you love wolves, if you love the lore of wolves. Like this series, there's romance, and there's like bonds, and there's like imprints, but it's different than how it is explained in Twilight. Because in this book, you have your bonds, you have your imprints, but it's a lot different. It's a lot more, there's a lot more details that goes into this book than Twilight itself. And that's why I truly, truly love. Now, I will say this. I did say it's romance. It is romance. If you like a specific type of romance, meaning like straight couples, then maybe this book series isn't for you, because this is just all LGBT. But in my opinion, I didn't really mind this level of spice than I did with the first book. The first book, I will be honest, TJ, the first book, I couldn't really sit through that whole entire section of the romance. It was just too much for me, in my opinion. I'm nothing against your book. Like I said, TJ, I love your books. Nothing against it. Just not my taste. With this one, so with the first book, I would rate it if you're into that, it's more like a 10 out of 10. Me, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. With this one, it's also LGBTQ. The romance in this one, it's a level 5 out of 10. It's still spicy, but it's not as spicy as it was in the first book. The second book, it's a little bit less spicy. So if you like that type of romance, then this is for you. I truly enjoyed it, not because of the romance itself, but because of the plot. I really truly enjoyed the plot. The romance is just another part of it, TJ. I'll be honest. The romance is just another part of it. I truly enjoyed this. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed everything about it. The romance scenes, I couldn't really sit through the first one. The second one, I could handle it. Like I said, it wasn't as spicy for me. So, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoy the first book. I'll be honest with you. I am a little bit upset that I don't have my own book series because I did borrow this from the library. So, I will definitely be reading these books again. This isn't a one-time thing. I will definitely be owning these books. I truly enjoy these books. I really enjoyed them. I'm on the third book right now. I will let you know when I'm done. But, yeah, if you really like wolves and you love romance, this is a book for you. If you like Twilight and you want to know more about, like, the lore of the wolves, I would say this one will give you more in depth. But, you know, readers to their own read. So, if you don't like it or if it's not your thing, totally cool. But to me, I truly enjoyed it. I'm going to get my own copies of these books so that way they can live on my bookshelves and I can just enjoy them whenever I want. Thank you, TJ, for an amazing read. I'm on your third book right now, so I'll let you know when I'm done with that. Other than that, have a good night. I'll see you guys later.